Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Pages in PALS live show. This is a monthly live show where we just kind of hang out and read together. We read any book that we want. It's not any particular book. It's not a book club. We just sit here and we hang out with each other and we read. All of you are welcome to join us. Just grab whatever book is next to you that you're currently reading. We do this again every month, so if you're interested in joining us for live shows, we usually do it on a Saturday. It's going to be on mid-month. It's usually the second or third Saturday of every single month. And so I'm going to let everyone else introduce themselves and let you guys know what they're currently reading. Kathy, if you want to go first.
Sure, yeah. I'm Kathy from the channel Kathy Trithardt, and I'm reading Like Never, which is by Anne Aguirre, is how I want to pronounce that. I didn't know anything going into this. I just picked it up because it was like a dark contemporary, and I was like, sure. And it starts out with this girl is in a car with a boyfriend and his brother and her best friend, because they all are dating each other. And like pretty immediately they're in a car accident. When she wakes up, she's in her best friend's body, and her body has actually died. And her best friend is like gone. So it's weird, and I'm really enjoying it.
Wow. Okay. Tesserae, if you want to go next.
Okay. So, as I was just saying before we started, that I've been going back and reading Christopher Pike. So I do have a Christopher Pike book here, which is called Whisper of Death. And I guess there's a couple who's having some issues and they leave their town to kind of resolve them, but then they can't find anybody. And it turns out the whole world is empty. they don't know what's going on or what's happened. They eventually find a couple of other people, and they're trying to figure out how they're all related, like why they're still alive and what's happened, basically.
Okay.
Hi, guys. So my name is Chloe. I run the BookTube channel BrunetteBibliophile. And today I'm actually working on an arc that I got, which is, I don't know if you guys can see that. It's Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer. Yeah, you guys can't see that at all. So I'm working on that right now. And it's a contemporary. It's her first contemporary work, but there's also a little magical realism because our main character gets the ability to give instant karma, essentially. But it's okay so far. We'll see where it goes.
Cool. Okay. Well, you guys know me. Obviously, you're on my channel. I am actually going through a slump right now. I'm actually going through both a reading slump and a filming slump, which is why my channel has been like no activity for the past month. But I am still reading Bound by Neil Shusterman. It's the same book that I've been reading in our last live show. This is a series of short stories set in the dystopian world of The Unwind Dystology by Neil Shusterman, which is just a really weird, disturbing dystopia. If you guys have never heard about it, it's really, really good. It's actually one of my favorite dystopians, and it's set in a world after a war against abortion. And in order to put an end to that war, the scientists came up with this procedure called unwinding. Basically, a child is untouchable until he turns 13, and then whoever the guardian or the parent of that child is, they can choose to have that child unwound. That basically means you can harvest that child for their organs. And the only reason why this was agreed upon is because technically the child lives on, but in other people. So technically it's not, the child hasn't died. So it's really odd and it's really disturbing some parts about this series, but it's actually very, very good. And it makes you think about certain things, like what's happening in our society today. So it's very good. I would highly recommend it. But this is the only book in the series that I haven't read, which is, again, a series of short stories. So I'm working slowly my way through this book. So we're just gonna, in case you haven't joined us for a live show, we usually have 2 reading sprints. We start with introductions, then we have a 20-minute sprint where we read together quietly, and then we take a break and we talk about how we've been feeling about our book, and then we finish off with another 20-minute reading sprint. And so we're just gonna go ahead and get started with the first 20 minutes. So just grab your book, whatever book you're reading, and you guys can join us. Okay, so that was 20 minutes. Hold on. I managed to read 13 pages, so not bad. How is your reading going?
Pretty good. 35. Yeah,
I got like 15 pages.
Sorry, what?
Nice.
I got about 15 pages done.
How are you enjoying your book, Chloe? You told me yesterday that the main character is annoying, so for me to watch out for that when I get to reading this book.
Yeah, I definitely think that you're gonna
Like,
think the main
in what
character is
way is she
annoying.
annoying? There's like different levels of annoyance. Like,
in like a whiny way. But it's mostly like right at the beginning. Like I feel like she's calmed down like a little bit now. Like, because Marissa Meyer is my favorite author. So the story is good. And yeah, I like it's a contemporary setting, but I like the world. Just the main character is really annoying.
okay.
But she's chilled
How
out.
far into the book are you?
I'm on chapter 17, which is page 139. Okay. And there's 48 chapters.
Okay. How about you, Kathy? How's your book going? Like, how far into the book are you?
I'm 248 pages into a 332 page book. So I'm getting there. It's such a weird problem to be in. It's not like a problem that anyone would actually have, like taking over your best friend's body and now having to live her life and then realizing she had a bunch of secrets. It's not a real thing, but it's
So
interesting to explore.
is she trying to figure out like how to live her new life, or is she trying to figure out how to go
Pretty much,
back?
she's trying to figure out like how to live in this body, because it's not like she can just like go back to her own family because they've already buried her, type of thing. So she's like trying to figure out this like what happened to her mom, who died when she was like 10, because that might have been like a murder situation. And then she's got like this creepy guy that used to date her mom and now is sexually attracted to her, which is super creepy. So there's that whole situation. And I'm just like, what the? It's so weird. I'm really enjoying it.
And her best friend, like her soul just disappeared. Like she doesn't know where they went.
Yeah, at some point she like has a dream, and in the dream the best friend is like, yeah, so when we like were in that car accident, like I let go, but you didn't want to let go, but your body was totaled, so you got mine instead. And I'm like, that's so weird.
That is weird.
It's also interesting because like she was dating, like there's brothers, and she was dating one of the brothers, and now she's suddenly dating the other brother because she's in her best friend's body. So like that's weird. It's a weird way to have a
Okay, how about you, Desiree? How's it going?
So I literally just started this. I'm on page 10. There were a couple funny quotes here. Let me see. Nobody's going to read this, so I don't even care like about spoilers. So this says, he had a body. Every guy does, but this fit him better than most.
I like it.
And then this said, but like any farm, good or bad, it had a barn. And it was in that barn that I lost my virginity after a thorough examination by Dr. Pepper. Because the guy's name is Pepper. And so I guess
I was
she
gonna
decided
say
to add
the
doctor.
like,
I don't know.
Like, damn.
It's like,
And
really?
then
That's how
her
we want to write
she's
that?
a teenager,
Okay.
right? Because this is young adult.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like, you know, it's just funny because I know I'm going to be laughing out loud at so many like oddly phrased
Are all his
things
books like that,
so,
with weird phrasings?
I mean, you know, like it's 80s, 90s stuff.
Wait,
so
did
I
he
want to
write
say
this in
yes.
the 80s and 90s, and then he just said, okay,
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's when it was published. So yeah, it's not set in the 80s and 90s. It was written in the 80s and 90s. So something that was really interesting though was the last book that I read, I was told that was one of the very few books of his that doesn't have supernatural elements. So this one does.
Yeah, the only like horror that I used to read when I was a kid was the Fear Street series by Harold Arlstein. Yeah, those were my favorites after, because I read all of the Goosebumps series, so I was like, I need to read more by R.L. Stine, so I went into his Fear Street, and it was really, really good. I used to love those too. Yeah, so I am currently, the story that I'm reading is based on one of the characters from the Unwind Dystology, and he was one of the ones that was unwound in the story. He's the one, like Desiree probably knows this, he was the one that in the first book, we get to read from the perspective of a child, of someone, of a teenager being unwound, like him being on the hospital bed and being unwound. So I'm reading from his perspective, and this is like before he got signed over to be unwound. So it's interesting to read all of these characters, like their life beforehand, knowing the final, you know, destination, like what happens to them in the original series. So it's both creepy and interesting at the same time. For those of you who are joining us, thank you for being here. The way our live show works is that we have 2 reading sprints. We always start with 1 20-minute reading sprint, and then we're about to now go into our second reading sprint, which is again another 20 minutes. So if you guys want to grab your book and join us, we're going to go ahead and start. Okay, so that was our last 20-minute sprint. So I managed to finish the story that I was reading, and I moved on to the next one, and they're talking about how there's something called clappers in the story, and I think they're beginning to tell me how clappers got started, which is really cool. So how has everybody's book been so far?
I'm still really enjoying mine. It's such a weird mixture of circumstances. Like, she's got all these different problems she's trying to solve, and some of them turn out not to really be big problems, but like she's constantly having to like figure things out that she should already know based on if she were actually the person that she's now in the body of. It's so weird to talk about, but yeah. So I'm still enjoying it.
Yeah. You have to let us know how it ends. Like,
Yeah.
all I want to know is, like, does she actually stay in the body at the end?
I'll let you know.
All right, Chloe.
So I said that the main character was starting to like redeem herself, and I spoke too soon. I'm starting to side with the male main character, because the other main character has irritated me again. So that's where we're at. And
If you could rate it right now, what would you rate it?
probably like a 4, because like I feel like Marissa Myers, like the plot and the world are like redeeming qualities, but the main character is just annoying the hell out of me.
Okay, how about you, Desiree? How's your book going?
So, in a very unexpected turn of events, my book turned into a whole discussion about abortion.
Why?
Well, you know, she had her full examination in that barn, and things happen, and it's very interesting to hear, you know, because this is like this was published in '91. I was 11 when I read this. but I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that at all. But the commentary is interesting because, you know, it's old commentary, but back then I would imagine it was doing some groundbreaking stuff, including this discussion in that book. So
she got pregnant from her little examination in the barn.
Yeah, they only did it once. And
well, it only takes once.
I know. I know. But it was just weird because like there was like a little paragraph where she was talking about not using protection, and she compares it to like trying to open your parachute like well after the fact, or realizing you don't have a parachute after jumping, kind of a thing. And it was just like, which is a pretty dumb move because the ground isn't going anywhere and the ground doesn't care. The ground doesn't care what you did or didn't do. But I really didn't expect all of that. I did not think that that's where that was going. So
you're making me want to find those books again because I read the crap out of them as a kid. So,
I mean, I bought a lot of them on thrift books for like $3 or $4.
Nice.
So they're out there. What about you, Cap?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm reading about how clappers started, and in this world, clappers are basically these children who were sentenced to be unwound, but they were kidnapped by this organization. And what they do is they send these children to be basically like kamikaze soldiers. So they go to these different places and they clap. And when they clap, they explode because they have this explosive thing in their bloodstream. So any kind of movement, any kind of loud noises sets them off. So I think that because I just started the story, so I think that's what's happening, is that I'm seeing the beginning of how clappers came to be. So it's quite interesting. But yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us. I see that the book Brainiac read 55 pages in the last hour, which I think is awesome because I don't think I read that many. I think I read maybe a total of 30. I didn't really count. So that's awesome. Good for you. You clearly read very fast because I don't, because I get distracted easily. So I always have to go back and reread the sentence that I was just currently reading. But anyway, thank you everyone for joining us. We will post when the next live show will be. Again, it's usually in the middle of the month. It's usually on a Saturday, second or third Saturday of the month. Kathy, of course, you're always welcome to join us if you would like. And anyone who is watching, if you are interested in being part of the actual live stream, you're more than welcome to join us. This is free for everybody to join. So all you have to do is message us. You can message us on Twitter or even leave me a comment down below. Let me know that you wanted to join, and we would be happy to have you in the actual live show. If not, you can, of course, always join us the way you guys are doing, which is through the comments. But anyway, thank you everybody for joining us, and we will see you guys next month. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.